Hey everybody, welcome to the iConversations. Today is the 26th of November, 2024. Today we are joined with not one, not two, not three, but four Icon agents who are going to be sharing their wisdom and what they've been up to and what they've been learning. But first, what we'll do is we will we'll have them give a little bit of an introduction to themselves. And we will go with James Stacey first. Just tell us who you are for those that haven't met you and where you work and that kind of stuff.
James Stacey, as Rob said, Port Lincoln, South Australia, which is 700 k's west of Adelaide, driving, those that don't know. Predominantly operate in a price range of circa 500k, but do sell homes from 250 right up to 2 million bucks as well in my market. It's a very versatile market, very broad market. Been with EXP for it'll be coming up 3 years in January.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ben, what about you?
G'day. So West Gippsland, I'm in Victoria, so about an hour and a bit out of Melbourne to the east. It's actually based in Warragul, but service the Baw Baw Shire around. Have been in EXP, I think probably one of the first 50 odd.
Well, I
So
was going to
about
say since day dot.
I think just January 31st or 1st of February 2020. Joined there. Look, my sort of market is very much blend of residential, right? So anywhere from residential land through to lifestyle properties and farms. So anywhere from 250 grand to 2-3 mil, depends on the property though. That's probably me.
Cool, great. And Melissa Mendez, the superstar.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm having a great day so far. It's my birthday, so
Woo!
I know. So thanks for having me today. A little bit about me. So I'm Melissa Mendez. I'm from Rockingham in Perth, Western Australia. I've been with EXP 4 years now, in the industry 12 years. Love my job, passionate about the people, setting goals and helping them move from A to B. Price range probably between, I know, 350 up to 3 mil. Majority is around about, 450 up to about a mil. But yeah, no, loving life and enjoying, keeping going.
Awesome, awesome. This is Mel's first Icon session. She was recently crowned as an Icon agent. I don't know if that's I don't know if we crown people with Icon, but yeah.
I'll
So
take it.
yeah. Guys, as we have our chat today, I just want to, this time of year, I often like to just talk to the agents that are Icon agents, kind of about the year that's been. We're not quite at the end of the year. We still got a little bit more pedaling to go, but we're getting very close. We're almost to December. And I want to ask two questions, and then more questions will flow from that. The first question I want to ask, so you can prepare you mentally, is what have you learned about yourself this year in 2024? And what have you learned about real estate, whether it be the sales or any aspect of our industry? What have you learned about real estate? So, James Stacey, I'm going to start with you again. What have you learned about yourself?
How resilient I can be. Oh, so this year, fact has been I've carried both my best month in my career ever and probably my worst month in my career in the last 5 years. So I too am on a real estate roller coaster, just like the majority of agents are. And I think it's coming back in. So my best month was in February this year, and I think my worst month was August, and I don't think I had any settlements in August at all, recorded any settlements, which is a bit sad. I went for about 3 months without settling a property, almost 3 months. Still transacted 50 odd properties this year. But yeah, a lot of them didn't happen in the winter period. I sort of took a look back at myself and went, what am I doing wrong? I was losing business left, right, and center, and realized that I probably wasn't doing the basic things right. Got a bit ahead of myself, and yeah, had to hit the reset button and have come out of it pretty strong now, and we'll finish off the year pretty well.
Awesome. Awesome. Ben, what about yourself? Reflecting on the year, what have you learned
Uh,
about yourself?
Probably gotta go with your gut a bit more, rather than sit there and procrastinate on what like you've got something rolling around your head for, months and months at a time. Sort of tried a little bit of expansion, but and also made a few changes in the back end of my business in the last couple of months. And I've been sitting on it for probably 2, 3, 4, 4+ months, and probably should have done that sooner. And probably the other thing is, look, probably a little bit like James. Obviously, it's a little bit of a roller coaster again. But actually having my assistant actually pointed out to me my traditional sales and the times of the year that they happened, and I had never thought of ever doing that. So and there's actually a pattern where I am each time though, if it's a February, March, April, I might sell this many over the last 4 years. So it's sort of, but it's been consistent the whole time. So yeah, so I can now plan ahead and try and improve on that.
Well, that's an interesting thing you bring up there because if you see patterns like that are consistent, like in your service area,
Hmm.
it makes it easier either to ramp up activities outside of that, maybe to help with a more steady state, or you can just say, "Great, I know where I'm booking my holidays
Exactly.
here and here." So.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's great that you're willing to take or that you have people there that are assisting you to go, hey, do you notice that every time this happens, this happens? So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And that's probably the other thing. Just like, do I need someone to help me? Yeah, I do. So I've learned that this year. I had someone on as a trainee. So yeah. So and that's shown me that there is improvement there when I have got someone helping in the background. So
Awesome. Awesome. Miss Mel Mendez. I've known Mel for like 400 years, but no, I
No,
can't spell your
no.
name.
I
Now, what have you
have.
learned about yourself?
Well, I think these guys stole my words.
Yeah.
So resilience is definitely there and intuition. So it's been a bit of a year of things going on around the background, but it's just resetting, readjusting the sails. Keep looking and visualizing at the goals that I've set in my path. I've also had a few people that, a lot's going on in their world. And when I'm listing them, it's sort of like not coaching them, but just assisting them in that sort of like personal, but gentle way. And then just with the intuition is just listen to yourself when you see signs of change, is run with it. Like at the moment, things might be a little bit quiet. So now I'm looking at flyers and getting out there and, knocking on some doors maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really good. But it's interesting that you guys have all kind of talked about listening to your gut, taking a hard
Yeah.
look at yourself, keeping up to speed with, "Ooh, is it me? Is it the market? What's
Yep.
happening?" And what
Yeah.
Ben mentioned there about having a little bit of analysis paralysis, like wanting to take action, but a little bit not sure if I should. I think
Yeah.
that strikes all of us. There are a few people that take action immediately.
Mhm.
But yeah, I remember listening to a Brian Tracy thing, and he said one of the things that top salespeople do is they self-coach themselves on the phrase "do it now, do it
Mhm.
now, do it now," because it's really easy to put things off. James, I'm going to come back to you. What have you learned about real estate this year?
Oh, it's a forever changing model, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big believer in the markets, what's between your ears. It's all in your head. Obviously, we all benefit from when the market is better. It's a lot easier to sell properties, and there's probably slightly less vendor management because time on market's less. But yeah, I think yeah, it just probably solidified that the market's always changing, and it has changed dramatically. It's probably swings and roundabouts in my market, and it comes down to what stock you've got on the market at the time. You might have a flurry of listings that come on. If they're priced or positioned wrongly, you're going to think the market's pretty bad. But if you position
Mm.
8 or 9 properties in a row correctly and get good fees, all of a sudden you feel like you're invincible and you could sell anything to anyone. And you can have those two agents can operate inside the same marketplace and give varying opinions based on their own personal experience at the time. So I suppose the market is realistically what's between your ears, but it also comes down to your ability to list and sell with what you've got as well, working with what you've got to best maximize it. You know, don't protect the market, don't protect prices. You're only relaying what the market says with feedback as well. So yeah, I suppose the change in market is probably the biggest thing for me because there is less buyers at home opens now. I think we're all feeling it across South Australia. There is less people around. There's less inquiry coming through. And the change at realestate.com, I feel like their inquiries have dropped significantly with having to register as a buyer now as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's being reflected in Western Australia as well. I've talked to a couple of our agents yesterday. Brand new listings coming on 3-4 weeks ago would have got smashed doing home opens, crickets, no one there. They're just getting that beautiful meditation time to themselves on a weekend. Yeah, it's very interesting what you're saying. Just paying attention to the vendor management side. You know, when agents, you know, if your marketing pitch to the world is I get the best prices in the shortest amount of time, when the market changes, that's hard to back up sometimes, you know, rather than I've got strong processes. Ben, what about you? What have you been learning about real estate for the last 11 months?
Probably that. Look, I think everyone that's now struggling, we've been doing that for the last couple of years.
I was waiting for that, Ben.
It's the cause of most problems in Australia, apparently. So,
Yeah.
but no, look, I guess from my point of view, learning that even though it is, and everyone who does, all the older, more established agents that I've spoken to haven't seen it as bad as is, but if you do what you do well, you still, and your business is in the growth stage, then you actually still grow. So, so while it has been tough, there aren't as many buyers. It has turned a bit, just in the quality of the buyers that are there. Where I am, I think probably 6 of the last 10 have been cash buyers. Now, I hadn't seen a cash buyer in, well, probably 12, 18 months before that. So, yeah, I guess it's just actually sticking to what you need to do and what works. So, but the market over here, as I said, it's been pretty average for a while. So obviously all the land taxes, all that sort of stuff. So, but it probably doesn't help with the election coming in, Pete, as well. So that will probably affect it all a bit going forward for the next 6 months. So yeah. But
I'm interested what you said there, Ben. You were saying that if your business is in growth mode, you can grow in any market.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit more about that. What decisions or what energy flow or whatever happens to decide whether a business is in growth mode or not?
I think I mean, every business obviously has its startup stage. Now that for me would have been, I've been coming up 4 years now. So, well, is it 5, 4 or 5, whatever it is. But basically, it comes up to, so for the first years I've been doing all that marketing, and now I've got to that point where that marketing has paid off and I'm actually getting the calls, etc., coming through now. So I'm getting more out to more appraisal, all those sorts of things. And that's continuing now that I'm established. So probably whereas before that, I would have been sitting here going, where's the next listing coming from? Even from like when you start off at 1 or 2 listings, and I think I'm on about 15, 16 on the market now. And that's been consistent over the last 12 months. So that's why the business itself, the numbers are getting better, just with that plan that works and builds over time.
Yeah, I love that. That's just for those that are new or listening or whatever stage you're at in your real estate career. If you want to take real estate more seriously, you gotta be prepared to do the reps, don't you? You know, like you can't pay somebody else to do your push-ups. I've been looking for someone to pay.
I tried that.
Yeah, it doesn't work. My wife is awesome at doing push-ups, but it doesn't help me at all. So yeah, it's good that you've talked about that. We might come back to that a little bit. Mel, what have you been learning about real estate for the last 11 months?
Well, I tell you what, it's definitely changing at the moment. I think there's less investors out there. There's more owner-occupied buyers. There's definitely some first-time buyers that are being a little bit more cautious. They're not jumping into anything. They're not, wanting to get into any bidding wars. So that's slowed down a lot. But there definitely is changes happening in the market. The home opens are quiet. Talking to the people, just the buyer's agents and things like that, they're getting quiet as well. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing at the moment.
It's interesting you say that. I have a property on the market I listed 2 weeks ago, which seems like forever. And I can remember back in the day, 2 weeks. It's only early days. It just hit the
Yeah,
market. What are
yeah,
you talking
yeah.
about? But
Yeah.
I sent that to half a dozen buyers agents that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years, and crickets on
Yes.
the response, which is
Mhm.
great because if your vendor management process is such that you're just communicating, I'm just telling you what's happening, then it's
Yeah.
not personal. You're the agent that sucks, like it's you're doing everything you can to get the property sold. What
Yeah.
what in your patch, Mel, what types of properties are you seeing most be sought after?
Oh, I would have to say, so the mid-range, again, there's not much on the market between 5 and 600. Um, Probably mainly at the moment, there's 650 to 750s, which is slowing down. One property that I had a great campaign, but that sold in the third or fourth week. Where a few months ago, day three, boom, she sold it again. So
Yeah,
I'm seeing definite change there. Yeah, but there's
yeah,
just nothing on the market under 550, and the people are feeling it, so they're waiting.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. No, that's good. James, what types of properties are most sought after in your patch?
It depends on the price. Yeah, so I'm still engaged fairly heavily with some buyers agents that I network with pretty heavily that steer a lot of investors to me. So anything between 400 and 550, which represents probably a 5 to 5.5% yield in Port Lincoln. They're snapping up. 550 to 600 is slow because you're not getting value for money compared to what you can get. A lot of the locals aren't looking in that price range. 6 to 800, good family homes. Any home, well presented, shed, bit of space, is moving pretty quickly. And then I'm finding out 800 plus is a little bit slower. The buyers are becoming a little bit pickier with what they're looking at too. I just did $100,000 price reduction on one of my properties from 1.1 to,
Oh, wow.
well, 1.2 almost to 1.1. So
Brilliant.
yeah, hopefully that kicks some interest. So at the moment, I've only had market feedback around the 950 is the best. So I still don't know if it's enough, which is what the guy paid for it 5 years ago. So he's pretty much had no growth in that home since COVID. So it's a bit against the grain, but that is what it is. That's selling regional 101.
Mm.
Yeah, and again, it's such a simple statement, but a property's only worth what someone's prepared to pay for it. It sounds so basic, it sounds so play school, but at the end of the day, with all the fancy words and marketing and whatnot, it's still only worth what someone's prepared to pay
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Ben, what about in Baba? What's the preferred property to seek?
Getting a little, so lifestyle properties died in the butt a while back. They're coming back in a little bit now, so 1 to 1.5. They're slowly kicking back in.
In your community, what do I get for what's considered a lifestyle property? What's the size of the
Uh,
block? What's on the block?
well, anything from an acre upwards up to about 20 to 40 acres is probably lifestyle because it's not big enough to be farm.
Yeah.
So like you can't make money out of it. So that's kicking in a little bit and people are coming on the market. The finding the so the 800 range plus, or the 700 to 900 range was really slow, but that has kicked in a bit with downsizers who sell their more expensive lifestyle property. They're now looking to downsize into the country towns and getting 800 plus sort of thing, getting the odd one of those. But ironically, the hardest one I've sold this year has been a $250,000 one in Maui, which is it's further down, it's a 35-minute drive. It took me forever to sell it. I think I probably had 10 opens and probably quite a few private inspections, all for that princely sum of $4,000 or $5,000 commission. So the market.
This brings in our training point that we train on in the West a lot. When you say yes to one thing, you automatically say no to something else, meaning that time that you've spent there for the $5,000 commission is taking you away from something else.
Absolutely. And I literally took it on thinking, oh, that's a lower price. Well, that's a lower price. It'll sell quickly and it'll help my numbers.
I can relate to that. That's happened to me recently, and I absolutely feel what you're saying.
You're like, wait, I could have sold one at 900 for the same amount of time, maybe less.
And the other one where we are is the land in Victoria completely died. And the only ones still selling now are people selling for a loss. So the ones that settled just after COVID in 2023, sold a couple of blocks recently, but they're all people just cashing out. So
what are the factors in that? Building costs or people's change of plans?
Taxes, all those things that the big government brought in that made it, and the way that they're skewing the rental market towards the tenant more and more. They're about to introduce more regulation in Victoria that say that you have to update everything in the house to the latest specs to what the government wants. So that's no gas, electric, all that other stuff. Even putting in insulation into roofs and stuff like that. So they worked out it could be 8 to 16,000 for a simple one, or for a full refit it'd be up to 25. So in terms of rentals, that there's not many people buying land for rentals, and
I think we potentially could see, because they're making changes in a lot of the states as far as government control and mandated changes. And I think that is going to see maybe a lot of the last swing of investors that were throughout South Australia, WA, and into Queensland. As those changes come out, it wouldn't surprise me if your mum and dad investors go, oh, this is all too hard. We want out. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. James, coming to you, what's 2025 look like? What's your thinking and what's going to be happening I know that your crystal ball may not be as polished yet, but what are you thinking is going to be happening in your community?
Well, I think Ben sort of hit the nail on the head before with, describing that cheaper listing for what would probably be a cheaper fee. Like for me, and I tried to do it this year, but it wasn't quite right. But the market will become more competitive. And I think we will see a lot of the cost cutters and commission cutters probably exit the market. And I'd like to sort of see the commissions a little bit higher than what they have been as a percentage. And if prices come back a little bit and management's going to be increased, then I think it's fair play really that the prices do go up to sell a property. I think we're one of the only industry where prices keep going down. Everything else seems to be becoming more expensive except us.
Our service fee.
Our service fee, is becoming cheaper and cheaper. Like, that's the reality of it. Naturally it's still gone north from a dollar perspective because the rise in price, but as prices start to plateau and break, then it will go backwards. It'll start to go backwards. So that's going to be a big focus of mine. And getting my listing win rate, which is a personal thing for me. It's slightly lower than what I'd like to see it at. And that's probably because I'm being a bit more conservative with price recently, knowing there has been some changes and there's been some pretty bullish appraisals that I've gone up against recently that I thought to myself, well, if they're going to take it on at that money, then I'll get it as the second agent maybe maybe.
Talk to us a little bit about that. So we've got people that are here with us live and people watching the replay. What do you mean by your win rate?
The listing win rate. So I calculate listing win rate on not just appraisals conducted, but like not just a market appraisal, but actually a listing appointment more so. We should all be doing market appraisals, obviously, and updating people. So can't base it on that alone. But listing win rate, if you present an appraisal or send an off appraisal with the intention of listing the property for sale, that's what I call a listing appointment. And if you do not win that listing, obviously to win to not win is the listing win ratio. I used to sit at about 80%, and at the moment I'm about 55 to 60%. So I'm getting called into a lot of business and missing more than I'd like to. Unfortunately for me, a bit of it's beauty parade, highest price, lowest fee type thing. And it's working around that. I mean, you're not going to, they're very hard to win if you're not the cheapest agent in town with the most optimistic price, which I'm not. I tell people how it is, and that sometimes doesn't win me business. So yeah, working harder to try and keep the good ones in bed, so to speak, would be what I'm going to focus on next year.
Yeah, okay. And on that same token, Ben, how does that impact and relate to where you are?
Yeah, look, probably for next year, I think, I mean, I've literally just, as I said, I was up at Brizzy, spent some time with the Hardens, so sort of always trying to learn. So for next year, for me, got to try and so I've got 50% market share up at a small town near south. My goal is to probably increase
That's
that.
amazing. Well done to you.
Huge.
Sometimes it's just, I'd say it's asked, but it's actually just doing a whole lot of marketing and spending time up there. But yeah, so goal is to make that more my own patch, and then replicate that down to Yarragon. And I've been doing training, listening to some Matt Stoneway training, and I know it's old school, but the farm zone and don't spread yourself too thin, going back to my Maui $250,000 one. So don't take that one on. But yeah, so basically that's my goal for next year, in terms of my business, would be to do that, in terms of, and also just to try and get some more growth going, because I've had a really good year overall, and just to keep doing what we're doing, and obviously social media. I've just started trying text-based lead generation too, so which is getting some results. So yeah.
I'm glad you shared that because it's interesting to me to watch. I'm in such a lucky position. I get to talk to agents pretty much all day, every day. And, some of them call me up and they're on the edge of the cliff ready to jump. And some of them call me up and they're so excited because something worked. And, they've been trying something. And it's interesting, whether it be phone canvassing, door knocking, doing some form of digital scenario, direct mail, it's all working. That's what's so bizarre because I get agents go, oh, I would never do that. We've moved past that in the industry. And then I'll talk to somebody 3 days later and they go, that really old school thing we talked about 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I did that. I got 3 listings out of it. And you're like, what? How does that work? So yeah, it all works.
Flyers still work as well. I mean, it's all just different markets, different things that work. But yeah, I mean, I've done my flyers this year. It does work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mel, what do you see happening? Again, your crystal ball might be cloudy, but it might be polished. I don't know. But what's on the cards do you see for 2025?
Oh, so for 2025, I think you got to get your A game on. You got to be out there. You got to be energetic. You got to be up for the changes, and also listening to the people, finding out what the change is, why they're going from A to B. Ask them, have you heard what's happening in the marketplace? Just getting their little bit of feedback, because there is changes, and it's going to be hard for them because they all think they're going to get this massive price. Obviously, you can set goals. You have A and you got B there, so just testing the market. with my personal goals of change. I think I have to get my face out there, get a little bit more real on my social media rather than just the standard posts. Because I think that's
I'm
changing.
waiting for video to come to the Mel Mendez page.
I know. So I think a little bit of change there, get a little bit more with the times, and not just the standard flyer, which I've got in the pipeline as well, trying to do something different there. So yeah, I'm excited. Bring it on.
That's good. And I think what you said there, and I think that reflects well for all of us. Sometimes at this time of the year, we can be a little bit tired. You know, we've done a good hard slog, and in our culture in Australia, when I first moved to Australia 25 years ago, whatever it was, you know, people were like, okay, so no one will be doing business between the middle of December and the middle of January. I was like, what? And then I was like, year one, oh, that seems to be true. Year two, oh yeah. And so, yeah, we're some people are limping into December, but yeah, make sure you take some time out, be recharged. Fresh initiatives give you energy, new concepts, that kind of thing. James, final thoughts as we conclude here. If you were coaching yourself moving into 2025, what would you say you need to work on?
Just don't forget the simple things in this game. You know, where you just hit the nail on the head with those simple things work, letterbox drops, door knocking, 10 by 10 by 20s, you know, those basic, very basic fundamentals that we all tell the new guys to do. You don't necessarily have to be the new guy to do it. Just keep doing it yourself. So I think that's important for anyone to sort of that's maybe lacking in some business to get out and redo the simples.
Awesome. Awesome. Ben, same question for you. If you were coaching yourself, what would you be telling yourself you need to do going into 2025?
Less procrastination and more consistency. That's always been the biggest issue. So I always have the bright ideas, just don't always get to implement them.
Yeah. Comments coming in. Keep it simple, stupid, innovate, but keep it simple. The basics always work. Last one, final word. Mel Mendez, Rockingham, Western Australia. If you were coaching yourself, you kind of hinted at it. What would be your final coaching going into 2025?
Well, get back out there, meet the people. I don't know. I've even got some other ideas. Go to a coffee shop, post it on your social media, tell them where you are, come and meet you as a person so they can feel you on a different level than just that person that's plastered on the screen. So yeah, just getting more connected, I think. Yeah, with the people.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for sharing your wit, your wisdom, your highs, your lows for 2024. Can't wait to see your success in 2025. We'll actually send you little sound clippets of what you were coaching yourself to do next year, so that when you're off the rails, you can be coached by yourself, and Ben can listen to himself go, yeah, stop procrastinating and be consistent and all those things. So guys, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today, to share that with us. And we will catch you next time on iConversations.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers.